Hey girl, welcome back to Grace, Growth, and Business. I'm Amanda Fludd, the queen of quiet power and bold presence. I help women stop hiding their expertise and start owning rooms, conversations, and opportunities. And today's episode is a short one, but a real reminder for anyone who just feels like giving up, especially when it looks like everybody else is ahead. Okay, I think we've all kind of been there. And I think a lot of us are stuck on this place of like doing more, am I doing enough? Or it's really hard to be consistent. And if I'm honest, like consistency is not easy. Showing up when you're tired, when you're juggling all the things. I think most of us have full-time lives, full-time jobs. We juggle, the clients, running households, keeping your peace, keeping your marriage together, trying to take care of yourself, right? All while trying to build something of impact. And that could often feel like too much. And when you throw in the inner mean girl on top of that, why am I even doing this? Is this even going to work? Should I just quit? Whoo! We've all been there. And again, in that too much space. Recently, because I'm often in that space, y'all, if I'm honest. But recently, I looked up and I realized something, right? I realized that I've actually posted like my 10th podcast episode. And 10 may not sound like a lot, but when you decide to be fair to yourself and not fixed on a moment, you can look back and recognize how much beauty and value is in what doesn't seem like much at first. And sometimes I think we miss that. We don't slow down enough to see the value. Okay, like we live in this world of supposed to's, like, oh, you're supposed to have a lot of episodes to have an impact, right? And shoulds, like, oh, I should be posting every week. And all this anxious language, because that's really what it is, when, especially when you're hearing things like shoulds. And when you're in that space and operating from there, it can easily reduce your effort and minimize your potential. However, what I've had to remind myself of and what I want to remind you of is progress over perfection, purpose over purpose over pressure. See, that could have been a perfection moment that made me stop and record again, but I'm not. Because action over aesthetics is also what matters. And for a lot of us, like you may not be showing up perfectly or consistently, but you're showing up, and I want you to give yourself credit for that. And even if showing up feels like I haven't worked on this thing in months, okay, if it's been a couple days, maybe it's even been a year, just the fact that you started somewhere and you wanted to come back, like give yourself credit for that. Anyone that you admire who you think is doing some like bomb ass business and bomb work, like who is just maybe just a little bit ahead of you, a huge part of their equation is the understanding that this isn't just about how I feel today. Why they're able to do the thing, it's because they understand that what I need to do today and what I will do, what I'm willing to do, which is what is required of me, is bigger than how I feel. A lot of us, I think, like I want to say like fall victim to inconsistency or end up in inconsistent places because we base how we want to act or how we want to show up on how we feel. And I often tell my clients, like, feelings are not facts and they change like seasons, y'all. Okay. What you want, however, what was placed on your heart to do is a fact. And it's a fact that's worth fighting for. So even if that fight means I keep stopping but coming back over and over again, girl, do that. When you do come back and you start not just like coming back like, oh my God, here I go again, right? And in that like judgment space and dragging your feet. But I think when you start coming back and seeing it as something so valuable and you start celebrating those actions, it's going to shift some things for you, especially in the space of like consistency and motivation. Okay. So if you made the post, that's an action. If you sent the email, even if it was a week late, it's still an action, right? If you reopened your business planner, even after ignoring it for a month, it's still an action. If you took the training and like you parked it for a while, but now you're like, all right, let me start to put the pieces together, girl, that's action. If you created a thing and you shelved it and you came across and you're like, oh, this is a dope idea. That's the beginning of an action. And then you start to put it into practice, like, let me list it on my website. See, maybe I can make some sales from it. Girl, that is an action. Okay. And we don't honor the small steps enough. Like everything doesn't have to be this big to do, because these small steps stacked with intention lead to momentum. And that momentum feels like this sexy boss muscle. It just takes some time. Okay. It may get hard sometimes, but like keep coming. The real enemy to us as a people and to our progress isn't that we keep stopping. And for whatever the reason is, it's often really complex. Like we have complex lives. Like, can we give some grace to that? Y'all are doing so much. Okay. And sometimes it does mean we have to detour to do other things. Sometimes it means we just have to rest. Sometimes it means we just have to pivot. Sometimes it means we have to courageously do some other things. And that, my friend, is not laziness. It's not that you can't. It's not that you don't know how. It might be a little bit of shame, though. You feeling bad that you're not keeping up or that you had to stop. And depending on like your definition with like excellence in particular, and if you grew up with some really hardcore beliefs about what it means to be successful, it might really ignite some shame for you, or maybe even self-doubt. And that could also be why it's been so hard for you to come back, or why you feel so bad about starting over. You know, it's that voice that shows up as like, this doesn't even matter, or this is not enough, or you are not enough, or this is, you know, your life and will always be your story, this is too much to carry, who are you? Whatever that voice is, it's a liar. And honestly, if you keep waiting for this perfect moment to do the thing or to come back to the thing, or like this perfect version of yourself, like if I just do this or get this, or this perfect season of life, like you will miss the move that was meant to build your next level and wake up with nothing but regrets. I think I should say that again. You will miss the move that was meant to build your next level. And I don't want that for you. Shoot, I don't want that for me. I want God to look at me at the end of the day and say, well done, my good and faithful servant. That means I have to show up. I've got to show up now and be faithful, even in the most difficult and trying of circumstances, trying economic times, when things are trying my time and I just can't see the promise. I still have to show up. Okay, so when I got my little congrats from Buzzsprout on the 10th episode of this podcast, listen, my first instinct wasn't like, woo, it was like, oh, that's it. Because, girl, you've been trying to do this thing for so long. But then it clicked in me. And I realized I got to work on this, because I definitely have a lot of like negative bias. Things definitely filter through that first. And I definitely want to shift that. And I think this is why this is such a good conversation, too, because I think a lot of us do. So I had to shift, and it did happen pretty quickly, where it was like, nope, this is what action looks like. Congratulations, share it. And I posted my little 10 congrats things on 2 different platforms because I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? And just putting it out there, somebody might go watch it and download it. So that's dope too. And I was proud because this is what action looks like. Action, A.C.T.I.O.N. Any choice today is over nothing. These 10 episodes came out of imperfect, inconsistent action, and it beats standing still and doing nothing. Okay, so ma'am, let your next step be tiny, let it be imperfect, but let it still count. Post the thing, send the thing, record the voice note, girl, start the podcast. Follow up with the one person you said you wanted to talk to. Follow up with the person who said was interested. Take all that information and start the consulting firm, even with one client. Take the trip, go to the conference, get a plan, and exit into your purpose. Whatever it is, give yourself credit and keep moving. I learned this a long time ago, and this was like when I was like early in my marriage. Like I had a lot of miscarriages before I had my children, and one of them I had to have like surgery, kind of saved my life, sort of situation. I didn't know I was bleeding out on the inside, was pretty crazy. And I remember when I woke up and, they were trying to get me to move around and stuff. And I believe it was like a sign in the hallway. And it was like you have to keep moving. Where there's movement, there's hope. And it just always stood out to me, and I hope it really resonates with you because, like, nothing that's stagnant really grows, right? Whether you're in a stagnant relationship and stagnant friendships and stagnant beliefs, but wherever there's movement, even if that stagnation is still there, but you figured out how to move, that creates hope. So I'll close with this. The enemy would really rather that you do nothing than something. But I'd rather that you produce something, even if it's not perfect, because in that space is where your transformation starts. Because a lot of this business growth stuff, as we pursue our goals and we learn how to have more grace for ourselves, that only happens in the space of action. Okay. That's where you're going to meet God, and God is going to do some things in your life. But I also know that God is not going to wait forever for you. He's going to wait but so long for you to be the woman of impact that he's called you to be. So that's it for you today. As always, if any part of this resonated, do me a favor, send it to a friend, girl. Don't be stingy. Share it in your stories. Drop into the comments for me, and maybe tell me one sentence, thought, or idea that stood out to you that you're going to walk away with today. And no matter what, let's keep walking, let's keep moving, let's keep going. And I'll talk to you soon.